All right, what up, world? About to put down a video I've been wanting to do for a little while, leaders. So when I first started fishing, I really didn't think I needed a leader. Straight braided was good to go. I soon found out that was not the answer. So jump right into it. The first leader we're gonna talk about is one of my favorite, the shock leader. So this is my 12-foot Pin Prevail where my dial was /30. And what a shock leader is, if you're throwing high, big weights, 6, 7, 8 and bait on these big 12, 13-foot rods, you can do it with braid, but you're probably gonna want to use mono. Reason being, it stretches and it goes through the air better, but that's not what it's about. It's about the leader. So here I got a 60-pound Trilene big game leader, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I'll pretty much use anything. That was kind of hard to come by in Jersey at certain times of year. I don't know why, but the knot that I use, and I'm gonna see if I can get it on camera, I use a line-to-line knot. I use the Alberto knot, and that's coming up a lot better than I thought it would. I use the Alberto knot, and the reason being, you can't put a swivel and it go through the guides. So you want to do a line-to-line knot. This knot takes a little time to perfect, but once you get it, you got it. And the way this knot works, you get a couple wraps around the spool, as shown, and you can put as much power behind that cast as you see fit. And you got 60-pound mono. 60-pound mono is like anchor chain. It ain't gonna break. I've never broken this off before. The only time I've broken it off if I backlash. With that too, if you mess up, if you forget to take it out of gear, if you do whatever, you stop because you see it backlash, you just jam your thumb in the spool while it's going, that mono is gonna stretch. It's not gonna break. You can save your rig. So that's the first knot. We'll get that one out of the way. It's a shock leader, mostly used on my conventional setups, and I started from the bottom. I had to break off a lot, spent a lot of money on lead, and I'm pretty good now. I'm not bragging. I know a lot of people out there can probably outcast me, but I'm getting 450 plus with bait now, maybe even close to 500 feet if I got the wind in my favor. So the first knot, your shock leader, first leader is going to be your shock leader. Great for conventional applications. I've tried it on spinning applications. It's just a little strange. So shock leader, it's going to be our first leader we talked about, and you get out there and tie one. Let's talk about our next one. Next one we're going to talk about is our swivel to leader. So out here on the Jersey shore during the fall striper run, you can see it there, I usually use a 90-pound swivel to my braid, to my monofilament leader. And what that does, kind of gives them stretch when you got that fish in the waves, and also just a little stretch when you're casting, little shock absorption when you're throwing those heavy 2-3 ounce plugs out there in that white water. But here you'll see I got it set up with a dropper loop. I was actually fishing straight down off a pier, and the reason I had to swivel in this case was to actually reduce the line twist. Now in the comments, let me know if I'm using the right swivel. I see some more expensive ones that look like they could spin a little better than this one, but this is the one I've been using. It's just the Sea Striker 90-pound. I've broken hooks before this swivel is broken, so pretty quality swivel. So with this leader, you got your braid, your swivel, and you got your mono or fluorocarbon, whatever you decide to use. I also like to have a swivel on my knot when I'm fishing straight down offshore. Reason being, when you drop that shrimp chunk or that clam or whatever it is in 80, 90 feet of water, bottom fishing, you're gonna get some twist when you come up. And to reduce that line twist on that braid, you can have your swivel there to kind of take some of that up. So I don't have a name for this one, the swivel to leader, braid swivel leader. This is one of the leaders I use out there in the field. Moving on to our next one. I know the video is going quick, but if you know me, I like to get straight to the point. The next one we're going to talk about is our line to line leader. So I use this one, and I'm just using these straight out of the field, out of the garage, how I got them set up right now. As you can see on this one, I got my bunker snagging hook, and I crimped it in this case to give it a little more swing because I was losing a lot of bunker. But you can see here, we got our line to line, our braid to mono knot. And the reason we put the braid to the mono for the mono leader is, like I said again, shock absorption. If you just put that braid straight to this freaking snagging hook, you'll just be ripping bunker in half while you're snagging them or whatever else you're doing. Another thing that I like to use the line-to-line leader knot for is like snagging bunker. I might be in a situation where I might be reeling so fast, I'm gonna get the line to go through the top guide. I don't wanna knock that top guide out no time soon. It's gonna down you for a while to let the tackle shop replace your tip. So the safest way to do it, if I'm in a situation where I know I'm reeling fast, i.e. snagging bunker, getting back out there, I don't wanna worry about that swivel getting back up there. When I'm out on the beach and I got the Salt X in its prime environment, yes, I use a swivel to keep my Avas or whatever I'm using from twisting that line up. But in this case, I knew that when that bunker school pops up, I got to get on it quick. I don't have time to be worrying about stopping. Oh, damn, did I break my top guide? No, I just put a line-to-line knot and got that shock absorption from that mono. And mono stretches even in your backyard. You can see it stretch. So for line-to-line, I recommend that knot if you're doing something where, and if you're using a leader and someone doesn't know how to fish, it's their first time, hook them up with a line-to-line so they're not breaking that guide out. And I know I'm still got the big rod in my hand, but when I'm out bass fishing, pond hopping around my neighborhood here, I like the line-to-line because I like to put a fluorocarbon leader on top of my 8 pound, yes, I use 8-pound braid to catch largemouth. It's just little dinks around the neighborhood, it's fun. But I use the fluorocarbon so my wacky rig worm will sink through the water column better. With braid floats, and that will kind of mess up like the track that I want the bait to go. When you start fishing for a while, you use straight braid, you're running into this problem. You may not want the bait to sit on high in the water column. You want to throw braid. You don't want to be an old man and throw mono or straight fluorocarbon on a spinning reel. It's not fun at all. Get braid. You got to learn this line-to-line knot. And like I said, you throw that little super finesse worm 4 1/4 inch out there, that 6-8 pound fluorocarbon will just sink through the water column just perfect. And for that, like what we're talking about, you want to use your line-to-line knot. And with these line-to-line knots for these leaders, one thing I've learned, tie the stronger line to the weaker line. So when I'm using my 60 shock, I'll tie the 60 to the 20, but you got to put Carmex on your lips and cinch it as hard as you can, and you can get a pretty nice cinch on that knot. You want it to be as small as possible. So the one I just talked about, you got your line-to-line leader. Next one we're gonna talk about, and that's gonna be our, I really hate this word, but I gotta use it, the top shot portion of the leader. So here on my Avid, I call this my kill stick because I've caught a lot of nice striper and bluefish on this rod and reel, and it's got a lot of bodies on it. I love when it gets scratched across the concrete at the pier. It's just this beautiful sound. But you can see here, I got a pretty good amount of this is 50-pound Andy mono, and I got a couple yards on there. And the reason being, for this top shot, the situation I'm in, I'm casting at a pier that Sandy blew away. Well, striped bass like structure, so you get it right there in that structure, they're gonna run you in that structure. Well, this J braid is fragile to a point. I know it's braid, it's indestructible, but if you use braid around pointy, sharp, nasty structure, that fish runs you in it, you're gonna get broke off every time. And I had to learn the hard way because I used to only put just a little bit. So I was like, man, you know what? I was watching offshore fishing, and the guy was talking about top shot, and I was like, man, let me just add a little more leader. So I just got my 50 Andy and just put several wraps more than I would usually do. And when I pitch over there now, when they run me into the opposite pier, which they will, it's okay. I got the clicker on, got my 9-0 state approved circle hook. Thanks, New Jersey. You know, and when I cast it over there and they run it into it, I don't have to worry about breaking off because this mono, this plastic, is just going to get ate up versus the braid getting shredded and breaking. So that's my take on leaders. That's what I do on a daily basis. I know it's a million videos out there. You can look at those videos, leave your comments, your opinions in the comments. I want to hear them. I may be doing something wrong. I may have helped someone. My thing is, I made a lot of mistakes when I first started fishing. I had no mentor, I had no guide. Everybody around me just kind of threw the bobber out there with the minnow or the worm and just hope for the best. That wasn't enough for me. So I went from when I was 2 years old catching my first bluegill to being in this thing chasing waypoints offshore. So it's all about learning and expanding, and I hope I can just get through one person who may be thinking like, maybe I don't need a leader. Watch this video, I promise you will. Thank you for the view. Thank you for the 300 subscribers. Content's gonna go up one day if I can get my life and work together. It's like COVID slowed me down, then work kicked back up, and my channel just kind of started getting neglected. But thank you for the view. I'll see you next time.